and welcome to today's class, which is a Garuda Flow. Let's start with our feet slightly wider than hip width apart, and we're going to turn the palms facing forwards and spread the fingers and the thumbs far apart. And we're going to take some curling in of the hands, one finger at a time, to sort of form this bud, bend at the wrist, and then bring your hands up your central line, backs of the hands together, taking them all the way up to the ceiling, trying to keep, I'll just bend down a little bit, trying to keep your little fingers together and trying to sort of turn the backs of the hands to face behind you. Everything's a little bit lifted up, a little bit uncomfortable here, and then we're going to turn the palms and flex the wrists as we draw down. As we draw down with those arms, grow up nice and tall, and then again curling both fingers in. I'm not bending my fingers at all, I'm keeping the fingers nice and straight. There's a strange stretch around the back of the wrist. I'm now releasing the backs of my fingers to touch each other, trying to keep the backs of the hands together. Everything lifts up, push down into the floor at the same time, and then bring the arms round to the side. Great, let's do one arm at a time. I'm just going to come a little bit closer to the camera. So one finger at a time, and then the thumb joint. So you make this sort of Italian style bud with your hand. And then bring those fingers up the centre, that hand up the centre, reaching all the way up. This time, feel like you're hanging from something on the ceiling. And just bend that same side knee, pushing down into the floor. And then flex the hand and draw it down. Other hand. Spread the fingers and the thumbs first. Bend the fingers in one at a time, make that lovely bud. And then come up through the centre. Still rotating, a little bit of a twist in the shoulders, really trying to lengthen up and pushing down through that foot on the same side, and then I'm going to bend the knee and push down a little bit more and then come all the way down. Great, let's rotate the shoulders. I'm drawing low figures of 8 with my hands. Imagine you're standing in a beautiful infinity pool. So recently we've had really hot weather in the UK, our heat wave of the summer of 2022, and today we've had thunderstorms. So I've got all the lights on, trying to keep it's got a little bit dark outside. So imagine you're standing in the infinity pool and you're just letting your fingertips make some ripples on the water. Keeping the arms quite straight, but just lengthened away, so not bending at the elbows, but focusing on the shoulder leading that movement, rounding the shoulders forwards and backwards. Great, and then we're going to take the feet, actually no, keep the feet where they are. Let's take the arms up to the ceiling, rotating again, thumbs are backwards, little fingers are up, all the way up to the top. Again, trying to get those little fingers together, and then bring your palms together, and then really relax the elbows. This is our prayer arms. We're going to draw the arms back down the centre of the body, allowing the elbows to relax. As you do this, grow taller. And then we're going to go again. We're going to do about 3 more of these, maybe 4. As we do the next one, as we do each one, we're going to add on part of a roll down. So this time, as my fingertips go past my nose, I'm going to take my chin onto my chest. Allow the arms to unravel, and then I'm lifting up again. Lifting the chest, looking all the way up to the ceiling, palms together, relax those elbows, like there's lead weights on your elbows, nice and relaxed. Chin goes onto the chest. This time I'm going to go over a little bit more, if I can just go sideways, but the pelvis is staying in the middle, above my insteps, then lift the head and rolling up, bringing those arms up together again. This time we're going to go to the knees with the hands. So chin goes onto the chest, upper back rounds. Knees soften, the back's round. We're sort of halfway. In fact, I've just gone a little bit past my knees. And then I'm stacking the vertebrae, one on top of the other as I straighten the legs, always flowing through, never getting stuck in the Garuda work, breathing nice and evenly. This last one, we're going to go all the way down to the floor. Soften the knees, hang from your waist, just hold it there a moment, nod the head, shake the head, wiggle the shoulders around a little bit, maybe transfer your weight from side to side, one leg to the other, your upper body swings a little bit from side to side, and then let's bend the knees and roll up through the spine, pushing the pubic bone forwards, unravelling the spine all the way to the top. Fabulous. I'm going to draw a figure of eight, a big fat rounded figure of eight, a huge figure of eight in front of us. There's the top circle of our figure of eight, and there's the bottom circle of our figure of eight, if that makes any sense at all. We're going to bring the hands together, keep the arms fairly straight, and draw your figure of eight. I've called this the lightsaber figure of eight. It reminds me of Star Wars. And I'm not going to make the noise. I did try and make the noise in one of my classes recently, but it just went horribly wrong. So I'm going to stick with that noise. I'm going to let you use your imagination. Good. And then we're changing direction. There is no sort of right or wrong with this. Just create that shape in front of your body. Imagine your fingertips are sparklers. And allow your knees to bend, allow your shoulders to rotate, allow your head to move with it, flow with it. There's never a right or a wrong. Wonderful. From there, we're going to take that figure of eight that we've just drawn in front of our body. We're going to cut it down the middle, and we're going to draw the top half, one half of the top circle, and then the other half of the bottom circle, and we're going to bring our arms onto our legs. And let's just do this first. I'm going to slide my underneath arm down. The main thing here as you do this is to keep the legs nice and square to the front, knees over the toes, hips also facing square to the front. So slide this arm down, keeping it nice and straight, and then reach sideways and all the way back up to the top. And then it would be quite nice to do the other half. So cross the one half of the top circle, the bottom half of the second circle, sort of drawing like a figure S or the letter S. I'm keeping my underneath arm nice and straight, and I'm sliding the back of that arm. So it's stopping, it's midway, halfway along my thigh, and halfway along the lower arm, and then I'm going to reach forward. This is quite a strong stretch to the side. Going again, reaching over and sliding, and now we're flowing a little bit more. And I've just spotted cobwebs in the corner of my room that I saw the other day and I forgot to get rid of. Then we're going to add on a little bit to this. So once you've set your position here, stop halfway. So I'm halfway between my elbow and my wrist and halfway along my thigh. And then I'm going to open up that top arm. And as I just checked, this knee likes to go out at this point. I'm trying to keep the knees still, the hips still, lifting up that top arm, bringing the hands back together, stretching over and up, flows beautifully into the other side, even though I do say so myself. We're sliding that arm along, we're lifting up, just checking, my knee wants to really open out to the side, checking that the legs are staying fairly square, bring the hands back together, up to the top, let's go one more each side. Fixing the legs, fixing the hips, and then open up those shoulders. Don't get stuck in any of the positions, try not to freeze. Try and flow through it, keep moving, keep breathing primarily. So a really nice Garuda style rotation of the spine going on there, the upper body. Perfect. We are going to take some side bends, but this is a real rib cage side bend. So bring your feet a little bit closer together, maybe hip width apart. One hand behind your head and the other hand in your lower back. In fact, I'm going to turn this way to start. So I'm going to shift my ribs over to the side, over to towards the top elbow. And then I'm going to reach that top elbow up and over all the way. Then I'm going to extend the arms, one arm up to the ceiling, the other arm drops down, and come up and swap the arms over. One side, this is my tighter side, taking my ribs to the left. One side will be tighter than the other. Up and over, really stretching sideways, lengthen the arms and opening out. One more each way. So from here, we're lifting, we're bringing the hands in, we're shifting the ribs over first, then going up and over, extending the arm up, letting that underneath arm relax, and sweeping the arms around to swap sides. Rib cage shifts over and lifts up. You might notice the stress in my face. It's nice, but it's a little bit strong. Adding on to this, back to our first side. In fact, I'm going to show you from the side. Just watch me a moment. We're going over to the side. This is really sideways on. From here, I'm just going to rotate that upper body. Keeping my hips square, my hips staying still. Just taking that elbow to the corner. I'm looking down to the floor. Come back to the side to extend and come up. Let's do that together. So reaching up on your first side, extend the ribs over, go up and over. From here, keep from your waist downwards really still. Take that top elbow towards the corner in front of you. Looking down, come back sideways, extend the arms, sweep them round, changing over. Shift those ribs to the side and then up and over. From here, drop that top elbow down. So you're getting that stretch in the top upper quarter. Apart from that, nothing else has really changed. Come back to face forward, so you're back to sideways. Extend the arms up and reach out and over. Well done. And upper quarter stretch. Brilliant. Let's go for some nice, wide, deep squats. We want all of our legs and hips and everything to be nice and mobile and warmed up for our Garuda work. So let's go wide. Let's take the toes out slightly. Maybe coming down, elbows towards your knees, keeping the chest up if you can. If that's too low to start with, just bring your hands in front maybe. Looking for that perfect symmetry in, oh there we go, in your monitor or your mirror. If you're able to work in front of a mirror, perfect. So now I'm able to drop my elbows down to touch my knees. I can see in the monitor I need to just adjust slightly, make sure those knees are going over the toes. Perfect, let's come all the way down. Let's take the hands down. Walking the feet out so we're really nice and wide. Toes are facing the corners of your mat. Hands are underneath your shoulders. We're shifting the hips from side to side by straightening one leg, bending the other. Fully straightening one leg, keeping that foot nice and flat on the floor if you can. It's a strong old stretch on the inside thigh and groin. Then I'm going to turn around to the short end of my mat. Trying to keep moving, trying to keep flowing. We're going to take the lizard from here. The opposite hand is on the mat next to that front foot. Your knee is behind or above the ankle. The back leg is nice and straight. You're reaching forwards. You're going up and over. Tuck the elbow in, tuck the shoulder in. So you're twisting in the rib cage spine. Turning the rib cage spine in both directions if you can. As I reach forwards, I'm going to do a couple more. As I reach forwards with that arm, I'm going to come onto my toes, so really forwards. As I lift the arm up, I'm going to push back into that heel, that back heel and that calf. Last one there. I think that was 5 or 6. My feet are already in the perfect position to just switch around to the other side. All of this moving from side to side is really good mobility work. Make it nice and smooth. And then we're reaching forwards, up and over. Keep that arm nice and straight, then tuck it in. If I get this arm sort of out of the way, my hand goes on the inside of that knee, elbow, then the shoulder. I've got quite a nice rotation going on. Then I'm reaching forwards and up and back and rotate. So the rib cage is going one way and then the other way before I reach forwards and backwards. Forwards onto the toes, push through that back heel, keeping that back leg straight. Ooh, I think that's more than enough. I'm going to come back to face the front, walk my feet in, heels and toes, heels and toes, heels and toes. Bring the feet close to each other, keep them nice and parallel. Relax down, the legs are bent, and then we're rolling up through the spine, pushing that pivot bone forwards, unraveling to the top. Great job. I'm going to face this way. In fact, I'm going to go completely sideways. Let's just take some spine ripples. Lifting the chest, looking up, sticking the bottom out, finding your legs for support, relaxing all the way down, rounding the back. So I would call this the chest lift, followed by the back lift. Upper back is lifting me back up. Chest lift and back lift, or chest and back lift is what I call that one. The next one is the same sort of thing, but in reverse order. Chin onto the chest, bend the knees, place the hands on the legs, arch the back to sweep up and through. Chin onto the chest, arch the back to sweep up and through. We're just wanting that spine to be as mobile as possible. This doesn't have to be anywhere near as big. If you only want to do a little mini movement, absolutely fine. Just try and keep it flowing, keep it moving. Wonderful. From there, we're going to step back. So feet nice and parallel. I'm going to stay sideways. We're going to step back. In fact, let's have our hands in the prayer position. Stepping back into the warrior from yoga. So having a yoga mat's quite handy here. My front leg is, my toes are facing forwards. My back foot has gone perpendicular to the front foot, big word at this time of day. My heel is sort of in line with the middle of my foot. Because I've opened out that leg as I've gone back, I've opened out my hips. Now my hips are facing forwards, facing you to the front of the screen. My arms are opened out, my shoulders are opened out. From here, we're going to turn that back leg in and that back hand in, or that back arm in, bringing the arms forwards into our nice lunge. Now my back leg especially is in a completely different position. Hips and shoulders are square to my front. I'm going to pitch the weight all the way forwards and lift into a knee fold. Quite strong. Putting my feet down, bringing my hands back into the prayer position. As I sweep the other arm back, stepping back into that nice long lunge. I've got my feet in exactly the same place. Back arm is opened up, front arm extends. So now I'm facing the back of the room, and you'll be facing away from the screen as well, so I might as well not rub it on too much here. And then bend that back knee, bring your hips and shoulders square to your front, try and get a nice deep lunge or an even lunge with both legs bent. Pitch the weight forwards onto the front leg, lifting. Let's have the toes touching. Arms are up, toes are touching the knee, placing down back into your prayer position with your hands. Let's do one more of those each side. Sweeping the arm back, that nice deep long lunge. Opening up shoulders and hips to the side, but staying looking forwards. Then turning the hand, turning the foot. Just be careful if your mat's a little bit sticky. It should be sticky to keep you in place, but just be careful that you don't twist anything. Facing forwards, pitch the weight all the way forwards, toes to the knee, arms up by your ears, standing up really nice and tall. Hands together as you do the last one. Big, long lunge back. Extend those arms. Ideally, we want that front knee above or behind the ankle. Hit same side ankle. Turn, facing forwards. Your weight's in the middle, your body's in the middle. Pitch forwards. Bring the foot to the knee, the standing knee. Beautiful straight leg. And coming back down to finish. Good job. We are going to take a roll down and walk out to the plank. So standing at the back of your mat with your feet nice and wide, let's take a roll down from here and then walking out into the plank. Keep that belly button pulling in nice and tight. Keep your pelvis in neutral for as long as possible. Let your arms hang. I'm really drawing in my ribs at the front of the body. Soften the knees. Unravel the spine, trying to keep that weight over the centre of your feet. Nod your head, shake your head, wiggle the shoulders around a little bit. Maybe while we're here, just have a little knee bend and a straighten of the legs to stretch those hamstrings, just whatever feels right for you. If you can, keep your legs straight. Maybe have a little sway from side to side. Maybe take hold of your elbows. Like a pendulum move. Relaxing. Brilliant. And then let's soften the knees and let's walk out into the plank. Holding it here. So we are holding this position. Just looking at my notes, that seems quite tough to hold this position, but if you can, stay here. We're going to bring our feet closer together and we're going to draw in one knee at a time towards the same side elbow. Trying not to change the shape of your back. Just 4 of those. And then come and release and come back into your all squares box position, all fours box position. Just do some sea anemones while I'm checking that that's right. That is absolutely right, but it's that was quite tough to go straight into that. Making sure you do some sea anemones, twiddle the shoulders, twiddle the wrists around. Get that blood flow going. Brilliant. So we want the hands to be shoulder width apart, fingers and thumbs spread as always. Your spine is in its natural curves. You're lifting the chest and the back of the head out of the floor. We're going to straighten one leg at a time. Bringing your feet maybe hip width apart, not necessarily completely together. This time when you draw the knee in, you're going to twist your upper body so that we're going to the opposite knee. Knee to the opposite elbow, touching the arm if you can. And I've written in my notes to squeeze the knee in. When you've done your 4, bring your knees in again. Let's do some sea anemones again. This is tough. We've got quite a little bit of work on all 4s here to do. So just while I'm talking, do that. So what I want you to do with that, well, let's do one more set. We'll do 2 plain ones, 2 same side ones, and 2 twisting ones with a squeeze as opposed to just to draw the knee in and then straighten it out. So onto the hands, spread fingers and thumbs, feet hip width apart, body in that nice straight line as if you're standing. Let's do same side, knee to same side arm. Hinging at the hip, trying not to change anything. 2 of those and then a twist. Try and keep your shoulders really square. Squeeze the knee in and straighten, and then we're coming back onto all 4s. Perfect. More sea anemones going on. If this gets too much with your hands, you can always make a fist. So thumbs facing forwards, make sure that the wrist joint is nice and straight as when you're in that position. Great, the next one is our hip stacks. I'm going to have my hands flat again. From your all fours square box position, let's bring feet and knees together. This time we're going to extend one leg and lift. I'm lifting the screen leg so you can see. It's really nice and straight. My hips are level, my shoulders are level with each other, and they're both parallel to the floor. You could say that the hips and the shoulders are horizontal. From here we're going to stack the hips to make them vertical, one on top of the other. As I lift this hip, this moving hip, I'm pushing the other hip and sort of inside thigh towards my centre and releasing. Let's do 6 of these. Lifting and lowering, lifting and lowering. 2 more, I do believe. It's like I'm keeping my toe in the same spot in the wall behind me. That's number 6. I'm going to flex this foot. I'm just going to take a nice heart opener. Flex the foot, lower the foot to the floor and rest it on its side. Now stack your shoulders and again push this underneath shoulder forwards. Touch that underneath shoulder as you push it forwards. Wipe your hand across your chest. Relax that back foot onto the floor, like the warrior position we were in earlier. We're reaching up to the ceiling, and then we're going to take that arm across and look into the palm of the hand. This palm of the hand where I'm twiddling my fingers, I'm trying to push my rib cage up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to let that arm unravel. Everything unravels, and we're back to the start. We're going to do all of that on the other side. Again, some sea anemones if you need to. If this really is too much on your wrists, you could come down onto your elbows for this one. It will just be a little bit harder to twist the hips and get them really vertical, but do that if you can. So feet and knees together, we're on the other side. You're extending the leg, beautiful straight leg. You're lifting the leg so it's parallel to the floor at the height of the body. We're lifting the hips, stacking the hips to make them vertical, but I'm trying not to change anything in my upper body. That's the beauty of this work. We want that spiral, we want that full rotation all the way round. Your hand on the same side as the hip that you're lifting, that will become a little bit unweighted, but I'm keeping my head looking down, trying to keep my shoulders as square as possible. Pushing that underneath inside thigh forwards, if you like. That was my number 6. I'm going to flex that foot at the back, making the leg nice and strong. As I lower that leg, I feel like I want to lift up that same side hand. I'm going to relax the foot. I'm going to touch to my underneath shoulder. You'll be facing away from the camera now. Push that underneath shoulder forwards and then wipe your hand across your chest. Now the shoulders and the hips are stacked. So you're reaching up towards the ceiling, looking up towards the ceiling, and then just simply taking that arm across in front of you, above your head, looking into the palm of that hand, pushing those ribs up to the ceiling, getting a wonderful stretch in the side seam of your body. Reach the fingertips to touch the floor, flatten out the hand, feel the rest of the body having a lovely unravel as you get to that point. Perfect. Okay, we're going to combine those 2 things if you can. So we're going to go from a downward dog. It's a one-legged downward dog with a nice stretch at the end. One-legged downward dog and a one-legged plank actually. Have a little look. So I'm going to, from all fours, I'm going to curl my toes under. I'm going to lift my hips up. I'm going to have my feet close together, lifting my hips up, pushing my chest back. I'm going to come forwards and into the plank, and I'm a little bit more forwards than normal with my shoulders. As I come in, I'm going to draw that knee in, as we did on the first time. Keeping that same knee, we're going to use that same leg. As I go back into my downward dog, I'm straightening that leg and lifting the leg up. We're going to do 4 of these. Draw the knee in, lift the leg up as high as you can. It's a wonderful stretch on the back of the standing leg, the one that's on the floor. At this stage, this is number 3, my hips are nice and square to the front, to the mat. I'm going to hold this, that was number 4 actually, I think maybe number 5. Let's do number 5, we're going to hold up there. This time I'm going to stack my hips, I'm going to flex that foot actually, stack the hips and then bend that top knee. Now this is really quite twisted, it's a little bit hard to balance, everything's stretching in all different directions, and return and come back down. Woo. That's tough. Again, some sea anemones, one more on the other side, one more set on the other side. So we're going to do 5 of those. So hands nice and strong, feet together. Your downward dog will be a little bit more shallow. The nice thing about this is when you're in your downward dog, the pressure is off of your wrists a little bit. But then as soon as you come over, draw that knee in, squeeze the knee in, straighten the leg, lift the leg up as high as you can. Keep the hips square. Wonderful stretch on that foot that's on the floor, through the calf and the back of the knee. This isn't actually as difficult as it looks. As in, yeah, give it a go, you'll be absolutely fine. All my regulars in my class were able to do this, they surprised themselves. Here's number 5. Now I'm going to flex that foot, I'm going to stack my hips and then just let that foot dangle. Getting a wonderful stretch at the front of my hip, my left hand is slipping a little bit and coming back down. Whoa, have a good old collapse. That was hard work. Perfect. Let's take some pressure off of the wrists. Really do some good work here. Get those forearms almost burning a little bit. And then let's come to sit at the front of your, bring your feet to the front of your mat. Can't speak now. 2, 1 out. So seated C curve to start with. Feet and knees are hip width apart. Hands are underneath the backs of the knees. Elbows out to the side. Spine is nice and lifted, and then we're scooping that tummy into our C curve, rounding forwards, shoulders, when the shoulders are over the hips, you're sitting as tall as possible, and then scooping. Notice that the movement is initiated from that pelvic tilt, that strong pulling in of your belly button. I'm not trying to go back in a straight line, that just feels awful. It makes me scrunch up my face, and when you drop your head too far back, it makes your face scrunch up. Scoop the tummy, open up, relax the hip flexors, come into this balancing point. Brilliant. And then put the feet down and sit up nice and tall. Okay, here's the biggie. We are going to roll all the way down. As you're rolling down, you're straightening out your legs, you're taking your arms overhead. Don't rest there. Throw the arms a little bit. Come up into your seated C-curve balance. Toes to the floor. Curl that back. Straighten the legs out. Extend the arms over. I don't need to throw my arms anywhere near as much this time because my body is okay with this. My brain's thought, oh, wasn't sure whether I can do that, but actually I can. So once you find that you can do this, slow it down a little bit. How much control do you have over that whole spine? Staying rounded, drawing that belly button in nice and tight. Here, I'm lowering one vertebrae at a time. When my arms go over, my head's already down. I don't need to throw the arms. In fact, I'm going to see how slowly I can go. Arms are above my head, rounding, and whoo, that's enough. Well done. Good job if you managed that one. Again, another one that people didn't think they could do when they gave it a go, especially if you throw the arms a little bit at the beginning. Works out really well. Okay, another Garuda classic, our hip rolls. Seated hip rolls into Gecko Press-Ups. Just so I'm moving my mat so that it's nice and square to the camera so that you can see what's going on. Sitting in the middle of your mat, if you've got a yoga mat, hopefully you've got enough space for this one. We're just going to keep the legs out in front of you, keep the legs together. We're going to roll over onto one hip, allow that underneath side of your ribs to just drop down a little bit. My fingers are facing forwards. Again, this is all about stretching the bits that we don't normally stretch. The Garuda work always reaches the corners that other Pilates classes don't. So we're stretching to the side, allowing that rib cage to drop. I'm not collapsing, but I'm just getting that nice stretch there. I'm keeping my legs together. This is going to be important for the next bit. Keeping my legs together so that I end up with one leg on top of the other. Perfect. I'm going to do a press up, sort of a press up, towards the back corner of my mat. My hands are going to be like this, equal distance from this point of the back corner of my mat. Both elbows are going to be sticking out. Take your legs over with you. So you're here, elbows sticking out. It's very tempting to pop that back elbow on the floor. Air kiss the floor, push yourself back up again. There's a couple of different ways of doing this. For this first one, we're going to use the upper body strength to push up off the floor, keeping your legs together. If you can, take your hips all the way over so that back hip pretty much drops onto the floor. You will find yourself walking weirdly. You'll walk forwards as you do this, so maybe a little walk backwards on your bottom to reset yourself. Go again. A few more times if you can. This time start to bend the knee, the top knee, and see if you can get it towards your elbow. You're going to be slightly shorter on that side. This is why I call this the Gecko Press-Up compared to the other side. So the other leg is staying nice and straight. You are bending in on that shortened side. You'll find yourself shortening a little bit on that side. I'm going to do one more of these. Elbow towards the knee if you can. Perfect. Let's change the emphasis now. Make it a bit more into a spiral. Just watch me a moment. See if you can see the difference. And again, I'm shuffling back a little bit again. Now I'm going to go down into that position. Rather than thinking about bringing my knee to my elbow, I'm letting that leg stay on the floor, and I'm keeping my upper body low. My chest is still touching the floor. This time my focus is leading back up with my legs. I'm going to take that foot across, and it's like someone's got hold of this foot that I'm waving about in the air, and they're pulling me up by it. So my foot is leading the way, and you come up and your legs are a little bit apart. It's absolutely fine. Just bring them together as you go over to the other side. So lying fully on your tummy, cross the leg over. Don't try and push up with your upper body. It will happen because that leg is leading you up. So it's like, yeah, it's just slightly different. It's that reverse spiral. So here we go. Slightly different feeling. Don't think so much about lifting. Almost feel like you're dragged along the floor a little bit, and then you push up on your arms at the end. You don't even need to bring your legs together, actually. Slide across. It's like you've been saved by your favourite superhero. They're pulling you out of the quicksand or whatever. Last one. Stretching across. Hopefully you've got enough room for that, because that needs a little bit of room. But well done. Hopefully that should feel really quite nice. Perfect. Let's come down onto our tummies. I'm going to go just my mat back this way a little bit. Again, we're going to be looking at lifting the hips. Yeah, getting that spiral going on in the body. Let's start with the backs of the hands on top of each other, your forehead on your hands, and let's just lift one leg at a time, trying to keep your pelvis quite nice and stable. See if you can lift the leg from the hip, so no bending at the knee. Pelvis, no rocking and rolling from side to side. You might just want to put your hands underneath your hip bones to check that's happening. If you're asking yourself, well, how do I stop myself from rocking and rolling from side to side? That's by activating everything at the front of the body. So you connect the ribs to the hips, you draw the belly button in tightly towards the spine, which will activate your pelvic floor. You push your pubic bone into the mat a little bit. Good. Open up your arms to wherever is comfortable. This time we're going to lift the leg, and now you're going to lift your, oopsie, not enough room. You're going to lift your hips and bend your knees. It's called the scorpion. So this is the baby scorpion. Just put your hands wherever it's comfortable for you. So we're lifting one leg, I'm bending the knee, I'm touching that foot to the floor behind me. And then I'm returning. You'll probably be able to see it easier on this side. Lifting the leg, stacking the hips, touching the foot to the floor. So keeping the leg bent and returning. This is quite challenging for me because I'm tight at the very front of my hips. It's also quite a strong spiral on your shoulders. I'm keeping my head looking forwards rather than looking up. A couple more of those each side. Brilliant. Adding on to this, if you can, it's quite a nice, well, it's a way of sitting up. So you're going to lift the leg, you're going to bend the knee, you're going to put that foot flat, and then you are sitting yourself up. A little bit like what we just did with the gecko thingy. Into what my trainer calls beach chill position, which is apparently the knee touching the elbow, you're just chilling out here, you've got that one leg straight. Then we're going to bring the body back down and bring that leg back over. Other side, lift the leg, bend the knee, put the foot flat, push yourself up. Beach chill on the other side. I've got my bottom lifted, bottom down, doesn't matter. And back down again. Let's try one more of those each side. Lift, put the foot down, coming up to beach chill, rolling down, and then lift. Rolling up, coming up, and rolling back down. Excellent. Okay, hopefully that's all feeling really good, and hopefully you're feeling, I certainly am, I'm really nice and warm. I feel like I've got everything nice and warmed up. We're just going to do a couple of slightly different things. This isn't Garuda Pilates, this is more gold medal bodies, the GMB guys, but it's that natural movement and all the stuff that we've just been working on. So we're going to go, in fact let's do some bear walks first of all, just to really stretch everything out. So from your all fours position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, curl your toes under, lift your hips up nice and high. Reaching, one arm forward, one hand forward, then it's opposite leg. Really go nice and slowly here. Imagine you're working through treacle. If your hamstrings are tight, that's fine. Bend your knees slightly. When you walk backwards, it's easier, it's nicer to send the foot back first, then take the hand, foot and hand. You could do some sexy bears, so you're crossing the leg over. Again, your body should feel, it's not great on this sticky mat actually, but your body should feel ready for this, should feel really nice and warm and up for this. I'm not sure if you can take, oh yes, small steps with the hands as well. I'm not sure about going backwards, but yeah, okay, that works as well. All the same sort of stuff we've done. So we're rotating the top half and the bottom half in different directions. Let's have a look at, if you would like to join me, in from a quadruped, so from this position here with your knees lifted, you're going to take the opposite elbow to knee. In fact, just let me show you first. Opposite elbow to knee, In fact, let's just do a few of those. Opposite elbow to knee. So join in with this. I'm keeping my head looking forwards. I'm taking that opposite elbow to knee. I'm turning on my feet, my hips are going sideways. All really great work on the body. From there, just watch me this time, I'm going to go opposite elbow to knee. I'm going to put that foot flat, I'm going to sweep the arm up to the ceiling and come into the crab. From there, I'm going to bring the other arm over and swap the feet. So that was, if I'm sideways on, I've gone left elbow to right knee, put the left foot down, drive the hips up, sweeping the arm over, swapping over to come back here. I'm going to go to the other side. I think it might be easier if I keep turning sideways, I'm not sure. So this time I'm going right knee to left elbow. Put the right foot down, sweep the arm up, sweep the arm over to put the hand down, rotate on that one leg and you're back into your crab. I'm going to go again the same direction. Right elbow, left knee, right foot down, left arm sweeps. Ba, 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 ba. Really no right or wrong here, just have a little go. My last favourite little movement, it's called the swipe. Have a little look at this. I'm going to go this way. It's from the crab. All those same movements that we've just done. You take the arm over and then there's just a little jump to change and then you're back into the crab. Arm goes over, hands down, jump, jump, and we're here. Going back the other way, arm across, jump, jump, opening out, arm across, jump, jump, opening out. Hopefully you're as warm and worn out but equally as exhilarated, and maybe even if you haven't perfected those last couple of skills, next time you come back to do it you'll be amazing, I promise you. Thank you for joining me.